Hello crafty friends, I'm Lien from Studio Kato and I'm so happy you're joining me again today for another video. Today I'm using some of the new release from A Pocket Full of Happiness, which is a lovely little company right here in Europe. I really love their dies and I'm so happy I got my hands on the new release. Well, not all of it, but still. I am using this Scripty Congrats die set, which also comes with the shadow, which we're going to have fun with. And I'm using the Fly Away With Me 2 die set. If you love butterflies, there's also a Fly Away With Me 1, which has more different sized butterflies. Now I die cut the shadow a couple of times out of white cardstock, and I just put that white cardstock die cut over some more white cardstock and I trimmed around it with scissors. So I have roughly the shape there, but it's slightly larger so I can make sure I have all of it covered with these strips. So I am going to work on a pretty white background and I always love to add some color in there, and I thought a great way to add color today was to add color in my shadow die for the sentiment. So I'm covering this piece of paper with strips of cardstock with blue, greens, a lot of different colors. I recently added some colored cardstock to my stash. I didn't have a lot of it, and now I feel like I have quite a lot to choose from, which I love. If you don't have a lot of colored cardstock, or if you don't have the selection you need for a project like this, which I didn't have for the longest time, you can ink up some strips with your favorite inks, and that is really easy to do. Just rub the strip of paper over your ink pad, and that will give you some colored cardstock as well. Now that all that is glued down, I trimmed all the strips a little bit off so I knew where to die cut. And I'm just laying that die over my stripped piece, and then I can keep that in place with some purple tape because I had a certain color that I wanted to have at the start of the word for some reason. Don't know why. I die cut that, and I also die cut this gosh, what's it called, the stitched quilt cover die something. It's a background die, it's a cover die. I think both of those words are in the name. I will list it in the description below. I actually have a really fun project to share with you guys using that background cover die because I've been stitching it and it's been really fun and it's looking really good so far, but it's taking forever. So I hope that video is coming up soon. Now I'm layering up my sentiments. You know I love the dimension in my cards, so I die cut the Scripty Congrats 3 times out of thick white cardstock, once out of matte silver cardstock. Again, all of those products will be listed and linked in the description below. And I even backed that shadow layer as well with some extra pieces of thick white cardstock, so that would have some dimension too. This is a very dainty die, but it's surprisingly easy to line everything up. It's not too flimsy. The letters are very close together, and I think that helps. It's not super flimsy. If you cut it out of thick cardstock, it shouldn't be a problem to layer it up at all. Now what you want to do before you adhere your shadow layer down on your card is add the Scripty layer on top, because there's no way to get the shadow layer on straight or in a way that the Scripty sentiment is actually on straight on your card. Ask me how I know that. I was very happy that I was still able to pull off the shadow layer that I adhered down crookedly, but now it should be centered and straight. This could already be a card as is. I think the background is a little bit too subtle for my liking, but if you did some stenciling in the background, some subtle gray on white stenciling for example, or even white on gray with some pigment ink, that would be really fun. You don't really need to add the butterflies, but I love these butterflies, so I'm adding them. I die cut them out of the same cardstock colors that I used for the shadow layer. And actually all of these cardstock colors were scraps, so I only used scraps of paper for this card. I made sure the scraps were big enough to cut 4 colored strips from them, because I thought that's how many I needed. obviously I didn't, and die cut one of the butterflies from them as well, or a couple of the butterflies. Now I also die cut the butterflies twice each out of thick white cardstock. So what you see me layering these colored butterflies on are already 2 layers of cardstock layered together. I didn't film that part. I thought it wasn't necessary. So you're just going to have to take my word for it. So that striped butterfly is 2 layers of thick white cardstock. I am adding glue to that. Then I can add the striped blue or teal butterfly to that. And I'm actually propping that up on a very small strip of foam tape. These are foam squares. I don't often use foam squares anymore. I usually just cut up my foam tape, but these pieces had to be so tiny, I thought I was better off cutting them from foam squares. Now I did that for all of the butterflies, but I'm trying something new and I'm not speeding up the video as much. I'm just cutting out more parts. I think, personally, I find that a lot more fun to watch. So I figured I'd try that. It's a little bit different to edit those videos, so let me know what you think. But that's all the butterflies adhered, and then I also added a bunch of gems. These are actually holographic gems for nail art, but I love them because they're super tiny. I don't know if I can find the link to these anymore. They're quite old, but I will give it a go and look on my Amazon history and see if I can still find them, if they're still available. I love them because they are so tiny, and I like it when the embellishments are super tiny and just add a hint of sparkle. Now, as always, I am making a matching envelope. Well, I say as always, you're going to notice that there are a couple of videos coming up that don't have matching envelopes, or, well, they do have matching envelopes, but I didn't make them on camera. Those are videos I filmed when I wasn't really editing videos, and I, for some reason, didn't think it was necessary to make envelopes for them at the time, and I didn't want to take the time to film those anymore. But for most of the videos coming up, you are going to get matching envelopes. And I really like this one because it turns out I had some really subtle pattern paper that has the same or a very similar pattern on it than that Quilt background cover plate, if that's what it's called. Again, it will be listed in the description below. Now that's my finished card. I really love the stripped shadow die cut there, and I love the sentiment out of the matte silver cardstock. I am obsessed with matte metallic cardstock these days. It photographs a lot easier, that's for sure, so I'm really enjoying it, and I also really like the look of it too. I hope you like it. I really love these butterflies. I hope you check them out, and even check out that Fly Away With Me. What was that the name? I don't know, but there's the first set of these butterflies that you should definitely check out if you're a fan of butterflies. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time.